Good morning, everybody. I'm Nicki. Tell me if you can you hear me? Not hear me? I'm Nicki. I'm from Tampa, and it was a long way to get here yesterday. I understand a lot of people had trouble, but it's great to be here. And just before we start, how many people actually use AccuTrace now? Everybody. Oh, that's great. Then I really don't need my slides. You know what the reports look like. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the direct marketing business, starting in digital print for over 30 years. Been with the same company now for 11. And I haven't spoken in front of more than 3 people since college, so I thank you in advance for your patience. We do quite a bit of drop ship. 90% of our mail is drop ship mail. And until very recently, that was throwing a dart at a dartboard, trying to figure out how long it's going to take to get from Tampa to San Diego and get an accurate in-home date. Because, you know, the post office wants 3 days. And you're hardly ever right. Hardly ever, until informed visibility and AccuTrace came along. Let me show you. So this is our logistics map when we're figuring out how long it's going to take to get from Tampa to California. I have my salespeople and my CSRs stick to this now that we have historical data. We have several years of historical data thanks to AccuTrace, and can actually not throw a dart and try to hit anymore. We can actually say it is going to take 3 days to get to Kansas, because we know that from my dropship company. I don't want to deal, I don't know if you guys do a lot of dropship. I don't want to deal with the trucking companies. So we use a company called Dropship Direct. And I get this report as soon as it gets signed for. This is basically my 8125, my confirmation. So I can go back to my map and I can say, yes, absolutely, it took 3 days to get to Fort Worth from Tampa. I don't know if you can see it. We actually dropped it on the 7th, and it got there on the 12th. Actually, that took 4 days, didn't it? 5 days.
That's not in-house, right?
I'm sorry?
That's just to the city. That's not in-house.
This is signed for at the SCF.
Okay.
This is proof that it's signed for at the SCF. My software, my dropship company would have told me that was a 2-day travel. It's not, apparently, right? So we have shortened, and not shortened, but we've pinpointed now how long it's going to take, because we do a lot of financial seminars, and timing on those getting in homes is very important. Because if you get there too soon, they're going to forget about it. If you get there too late, they're going to go, well, I don't have time to go now, because they're on the plan on it. But that's the bulk of our business. So this is, you know what the reports look like. So this is my first scan. I can tell that it scanned on the 12th. So I know Fort Worth has got their business going on, because that's rare. That's rare to see it signed for on a dropship at the SCF and see the first scans happen that day. So I can go back and use this historical data that I've been gathering and be able to say, well, I'm going to Texas, I'm going to Fort Worth, that's where I'm dropping. They are on the ball. As opposed to, I'm dropping in Seattle, I'm not going to see a first scan until 2 days after they sign for it. You just get to know, AccuTrace allows you to get to know your different areas of the country and what kind of service you're going to get out of that. Before, didn't happen at all. And we were out and delivered in 2 days at that SCF. So in building the map for my people to be able to sell dropship, I took all of this information that AccuTrace was able to give me and compiled it and did averages across the country so that they can be confident in what they tell their clients. Because my salespeople and my CSR are my clients. They rely on me to sell the product. Now, what we also do is we do a great deal of multi-channel marketing. What I mean, of course you know what that means. We hit with emails and Facebook, and timing is everything when you're trying to mix digital with mail. Again, before we deploy an email and you're rolling the dice, did they get the email 3 days, a week, 9 days before the mail piece got there? Timing is everything. So in AccuTrace, I use it to get a snapshot first of the mailing. Then, as soon as it tells me that first scan is done, this particular campaign here, they wanted it to hit 2 days before the mail piece. So it was 2 emails and a mail piece. They wanted 2 days before the mail piece, the first introduction email to get. Then 2 days later to get the mail piece, and to deploy the second email on the day later in the day that they got the mail piece. So they're being hit over a series of 3 days with the introductory email, with the mail piece, and then you know when that is out for delivery, and you can hit them in the evening with an email. So that's what we did here. So then when I go back, I love this feature, to be able to see the actual journey of the mail piece. Again, it helps with timing. But here we've deployed the second email because we know that these pieces are out for delivery. They're going to get in mailboxes today. So we're going to time a second email with a bonus offer for what they got in the mail at 5 o'clock. So as soon as they get home, get their mail piece, check their email, they have a backup email. It has been a tremendous benefit. We have seen numbers go through the roof by being able to use AccuTrace to time our digital campaigns, including Facebook. We'll set a Facebook ad to hit them several times when they log into Facebook the day they get the direct mail piece. And it has boosted sales for our clients tremendously. It's probably one of the greatest assets that we have found by using AccuTrace. Wake up! By using AccuTrace to combine digital with print mail. One marketing campaign, 3 touches perfectly combined, quantifiable results is priceless to our customers, and they keep coming back because of that. Now that's all the slides I had. You know AccuTrace. When we first signed up for AccuTrace as a company, we had several meetings about what do we charge? What if this customer doesn't want it? What if this client doesn't want it? How do we charge for this? We decided not to. We look at it as an investment, like a piece of equipment, because it helps us probably more than our customers. I mean, the biggest benefit our customers get on the back end is that terrible, terrible phone call we used to get, which I don't get anymore. Well, I do, but at least I can answer. I don't know what's going on, but I haven't gotten one phone call from the 5,000 pieces you dropped for me last week or 2 weeks ago. You must not have dropped my mail. And what could we do at that point, right? I have a round stamped 3602. That's going to prove it, right? And people just had to trust you. Now we decided this is an investment in our company, not a service that we should charge our customers for. Because now I can say, hang on a minute, I'll be back to you in about 30 minutes and I'll get you some reports that show you exactly where your mail is, why it was delayed. If it's delayed, I could find out why probably. And also I like to send them a little picture of their house, the house it went to. They get really impressed with that. Well, it's here, it's in their mailbox waiting for them to get home from work. But that's why we don't charge for it. It is as much a piece of equipment for us and for our business as our HP Indigo. and it's a lot less expensive than the HP Indigo. My salespeople also use it. I have like 4 sales guys that they go to these big conventions for financial advisors, and they put on presentations, and it's a huge selling point for them to be able to say, we offer this service to you free of charge. And people love that. They love it. They're like, okay, great. So it's a huge selling point for my salespeople. It's one of the, I sent them out a little email questionnaire asking them how they felt about AccuTrace and how they sell it. And that was their biggest thing, is that they're able to say, well, we can tell you where it is. A lot of places can't. Do you have any questions? I didn't think I could stretch 50 minutes out of this. I told you.
Do you have customers that you automatically will provide that tracing info when the mailing goes, or do you only wait for them to consult with you? Because we do the same thing like you're doing.
Yeah.
But I've been too nervous to just send it out to the customer right away, because if it is delayed and they don't
No. I'm so with you.
Okay.
We actually have our biggest customer also does financial seminars, and it's the only customer I gave them my login. So they're not calling me 20 times a day. That's the only reason I gave it to them. No, I wait for them to ask for it. I can usually tell if a salesperson is starting to get really antsy and saying, the client's saying they're not getting any reservations. Then I will proactively look if it's good news and send it. If it's good news. If it's bad news,
you don't want them to
no. I put it off a little bit. Yes.
So I don't know if this is the right question for this group, but I use it for what I need, but I don't always explore all the options. So within AccuTrace, I usually email the URL. But there's lots of other stuff going on. Can you talk about other ways
Oh, absolutely.
to share? And
I wonder if I could log in. I don't know if I can or not. Yeah, sure. I don't ever send the URL, actually. I will screenshot the report. I don't know, sending a URL sometimes will scare people. You send an email with a link to click, and they're probably not going to do it. I know I don't, especially if I'm unfamiliar with the person who's sending it to me. So I screenshot the relevant reports that I think they're going to want to see, and frankly, the ones that look most impressive. If it's got all kinds of nice little bar graphs and everything, and everything's going along, I'll absolutely send that right away. But the one thing too that I love, I don't know if anybody's ever gone into Postal One and tried to navigate informed visibility. It's like going to NASA, sitting in a simulator, pushing a whole bunch of buttons that you don't know what they're going to do, and going nowhere. It's terrible. I tried that on my own for not much longer than a month before I went, this AccuTrace thing you guys have? I really need it. It's because it's crazy trying. You have to be a programmer, basically, to be able to get informed visibility from Postal One.
Which screenshots are you sending, and how often are you sending them throughout the mail stream from start to finish to one customer?
I have only one time done first scan screenshot because they were curious.
I see.
The salesman had sold it, and they said, I want to watch the mail go through the stream so that he would have an idea of, because he was using his own call center, so he wanted to be able to staff his call center when the mail was about to hit, which was really smart of him. And actually, I said one time to one customer, because I did it several times for him, and now he doesn't need me to anymore. He got a feel of how his mail flows at his SCF. I did have to send him in home one time because it was a bad piece, let's face it. It wasn't going to do any good. But I should send you to him. Yes.
So can you tell what the email feature is?
I can answer this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't use that.
All
very
right,
much.
so we've been using the AccuTrace reports, and we create, actually we have 2 different accounts. We have one that I use the GUIDs, and we put them out for all our customers.
Wow.
We have thousands of mailings, and it was way too much. And screenshots, I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way I can keep up with that.
Well, now you can do a PDF.
We give all of those GUIDs. We have our salespeople that explain what they are, how to get it, how to read it. The email function is just for the person uploading the files. It really doesn't. You can download all the information right from the GUID, so your customers can get those reports. They can get the data, which is not personalized by any means. It's address or it's zip codes. But it gives the date and times of when things are scanned, where they're at, and the customer can see all of the reports, just like we can.
Now I'm going to ask you a question. Do you not feel uncomfortable sending out all the goods? I mean, it's just so much data.
Pretty much, we have our drop ship. We do a couple of different trucking companies that we deal with. Yes, there's sometimes the post office is telling on themselves by providing all of this.
I know.
So
Shocking, isn't it?
and it really tells on your trucking company too. So it does get back to
Right.
forcing us to do the performance, as well as the post office is being blamed for whatever. But it does. We do have the same thing. We've had nonprofits saying, "Hey, I don't trust that you mailed this
Absolutely.
because
It's
we're
the
not
worst
getting
phone call you can
calls."
get as a mail service provider. It really is, especially when you know you've done all your due diligence
Yes.
to get that mail there on time, and then it's completely out of your hands,
Yes.
which it still is. You
Yeah,
just
still
now
is.
you know where.
If they was just, my biggest issue with it is that I'd love to supply that information to clients, but there's really almost too much information in there.
That's
And-
why
and
I do.
if they would just implement a way to be able to turn off a bunch of those reports, I have clients who would love to get this information, but if you're sending somebody so much information that they don't know what to do
Overload.
with it, you may as well just be giving them garbage.
Right.
So, that's been my biggest issue with it. I'd love to utilize some of that, and when
You
we
really
first
need
got it,
to.
I utilized a lot of that, and I dragged data down and made reports, and it sounds like you're probably looking at those and entering those data elements into your,
I am. Yeah.
I did a bunch of that stuff automatically and did all those things, but every client that said they wanted it was so overwhelmed with it, and I just, every year I keep hoping like maybe they'll give an option in the company profile to turn off a bunch of those reports, because some of those things really kind of don't work, like the QR codes and some of the things that could work. No client of mine as an outsource provider is going to be able to utilize that functionality, but they'd all be able to go in and see drops,
Right. Yeah.
We ask our customers to focus,
Yeah.
right, just on the first scan,
Yeah.
the out for delivery scan. Those are the true primary
Those
ones.
are the big ones. Exactly. Those are the ones I send.
I like the in-home delivery.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
In-home
Right.
delivery.
In-home delivery. That's really the most important one, because if it's getting there, they don't care when it got there.
I just ask everybody send a thing to support, asking to be able to limit those. I keep asking for it.
I've actually been pushing to get some more. So.
Right?
Isn't there the email feature? I don't know anything about it. So isn't there an email feature where you put in the person that you're doing the mailing for's email and
For
they
alerts.
Right,
Yeah,
just-
so you can do interval alerts based
right, the
on,
alerts is
yeah.
what I'm curious about.
Sure, so you can do 20, no, this is a spoiler for the next class. But I'm kidding. I don't recommend any of them. No, but for the, yeah, you can do interval alerts every 24 hours, every 12 hours, every 8 hours, whether you get scans for the job or whether you don't. Totally up to you. Yeah, so if you'd like to have your clients get an email alerting them of how many scans.
Right.
So it
what,
just
1
emails
hour,
them scans, not
midnight,
delivery?
Oh, we don't want you instantly.
Otherwise your phone will blow up.
Yes, exactly.
So that email notification is just for scans, not like 90% of your mailings get delivered. It's just scans, it's
Yeah,
not.
when you have activity in that job, it's not, it doesn't have percentage. You can customize what's in it. but the job upload is company-based. That alert level for the job base, you can send anybody you want, 5 emails, whatever.
How complete is your documentation online for these functions, in case I have questions, which I will after? Was go
We just revised it with some of the new reports because it was the old interface still in that documentation. A lot of the reporting, when you see it, it'll have the report, all the data's in all of them. The report names are pretty self-explanatory, but like Scott was saying, a simplified view is something that we're looking at when people just want certain things and they don't want to try and understand what's the predicted delivery date, what's the, what is this logistical event, what does all of this stuff mean?
That right there was confusing my customers as well.
But everything is documented, it's just music.
Right. It needs
You have to choose what
easier to
you
parse, yeah.
understand.
Do you charge for the service, and if you do, how much? If you don't
We
mind.
do not.
You don't charge?
We
for
do
the
not
service?
charge.
Anybody else in here? Because we don't do AccuTrace.
It's self-protection.
It really is. It's an investment in our company and our reputation. I mean, as a mail service provider, we have to protect our reputation that we are doing things on the up and up, and that's the way we see it.
It makes us look good.
Yeah.
Really?
Sometimes you call the post office and say, what the heck is going on? And when they know that you know they have to deliver this, you tend to get a little better service when you call up and ask.
Absolutely. Oh, it gives you so much ammunition when you're calling an SCF facility or even your local BMEU. I mean, it gives you ammunition to say, I know my mails aren't there. You need to find out why.
We had a mailing that sat there, and we went on here and we found it.
Did you really?
They contacted the post office and they're like, oh yeah, we have this over here in the corner, didn't even know about
Yep.
it. Wow.
It's standard mail. They don't have to do
We would have no
it.
idea where it was stuck without that.
Yep.
Right.
If you have CSRs who are dealing with your clients, we do get the automatic email whenever our data processing posts those. So I automatically direct those back to either the data processing person who's in charge of it or the CSR who's in charge of that job. So they are getting those emails internally, and then my CSRs are then they're just putting it automatically in a folder. They don't really go look at it all the time, but if a particular client calls, they go right to their email, go to the AccuTrace folder that I've already directed that email to, and then they can click on that link and go straight to it.
That's a good idea.
That's actually how I'm probably utilizing it the most, though I'd love to disseminate that further downstream still. But if you think about that, just the AccuTrace email that happens when you post the stuff, if you capture that and put a rule in your Outlook or whatever, and then direct that to who needs to get it, then they've already got it, and then you're not. Because as a data processing person, I don't want my CSRs calling me going, so-and-so's on the phone, I need that. I'd rather be able to go right to that email, pull it up while they're on the phone with them, and be able to at least go, yeah, here it is, I'll take your screenshot, or I'll send you a link or whatever. So that's probably the biggest use we get out of it.
I don't use AccuTrace right now, but can you use it to proactively identify before the client calls where there's a
Absolutely. Absolutely you
and
can.
lean on the post office, say, go look, I mean, it's late or something.
Especially if you know you have a problem area. Like I'm Seattle, and that area is a problem child when it comes to drop shipping. Things just are delayed constantly. I always, if I know I'm drop shipping somebody to Seattle, I go every day, or my assistant goes every day. My assistant, my other programmer.
Not sharing that yet.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless I see it's getting, 10 days,
Yeah.
and then I will call the salesperson and say, look, you're probably going to get a call today. Don't freak out. I'm checking on it. I'm researching it. Yes.
If the mail is delayed and it's not your fault, if they're screwed up, do you recommend additional emails, or is there anything you can do for the client if the post office really dropped the ball?
And I have done this. I have a business rep locally in Tampa that I shoot him an email immediately, and I make him research it for me. Because I'm not going into Postal One and try to find those myself.
Yeah.
So I'll send him the IMBs and all the whole data list. I'll send it to him, and he will send me back what he pulled out of the informed visibility. That way I have, some backup. And it's hard to read. I mean, the data that comes from The post office is hard to read. It looks like machine language almost, and I'm kind of a little bit of a programmer, and it was horrible. But it gives you a safety net. I don't know. That's my quote that they asked me for is that it's my customer service parachute, and it really, really is. It's instead of jumping out of the plane with nothing, you're going to hit the ground at some point safely.
Will it track on deliverables?
Yes. It's tracking everything. It's tracking everything, and then they're parsing everything out for you and giving it back to you in legible, good-looking reports.
One thing I think is pretty cool, and I don't know if a lot of people have thought about it, but I have clients where we're doing multiple mailings for that client. You can also then re-upload the same list with multiple lists combined together. So if you're automatically uploading them through AccuZIP, and then you want to give your client a list of all 10 of those mailings, you can shove all those back into one list, upload that as one, and then send them one list back, and they can track all 10 of those mailings in one
That is a cool
tracking
feature.
interface, and that's been clients have liked that a lot.
That is cool. That's a cool feature.
I was curious, when you, in those situations where you might have 30 or 40, 50% scans and you're trying to find out which pieces these are, would it be helpful if you knew which trays?
It would be very, very helpful.
It is possible to, you have the extra field in AccuTrace, the user ID field. It is possible, I suppose, to put the container in there or put the container and bundle number, use that for that situation. Yeah, sequence number or anything else. But but as far as communicating with the post office, would that help if they knew which containers?
It would, because when you drop ship, you're not always going to have 10,000 pieces going to Seattle. 5 of them or 2,000 are non-SCF, but you're still going to send it with the mailing. Those usually are the ones that are creeping out and taking a lot longer. But if we knew that right off the bat, it would be easier to track it.
If you were able to go into the interface and export out the ones that had not been delivered yet, that would be amazing, because then you could just forward that list to the post office and say, can you please find out what's up with all these pieces?
Well, when you export the results by single piece report.
But then export only the ones that haven't been delivered already, so you're then giving your post office just the list of ones you need them to do research for you. Because that's what I end up having to do when they go, well, which ones? So then I have to get the list, and I see which ones have been delivered, call out the ones that haven't, and then provide them a list of that.
Right.
If I'm trying to even track that, if it's a big mailing, if it's a small mailing, give them the whole list and ask them to track it all, even though you've already gotten the answers. But
I see.
I don't know if that's doable, but it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the only thing I've done with customers before is export the results by single piece, bring it back into AccuZIP, identify the container for them, and usually there's a pretty decent pattern as to why, and usually it's all containing one tray or an entire tray is missing. Yeah, exactly.
That is usually what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Are most of your customers traditional direct mailers who rely on direct mail? And do you have any newer clients who were strictly digital email only that you've converted to mail and use this as a feature to kind of...
Actually, it has gone the other way. We've taken our traditional mailers and converted them to digital and mailing. Because we don't want to lose that mailing revenue, because there's not a whole lot of money in email marketing.
No, but how about getting them to mail? I mean, there's some people that just like you hear snail mail and they go, oh, but there are a lot of people who are so dependent on just digital. You don't even try to get those to the mailstream. It's the other way around.
Well, traditionally that's what has happened. We have gone the other way, but we are more of a mail service provider and marketing company, so we don't have a whole lot of just email customers.
Not just email, but people who are email. What's their attitude towards starting? Can you push them into this?
Usually, it's not as difficult as you'd think.
Yeah.
Especially if you can, bottom line it for them.
Yeah.
One of the, since you don't use AccuTrace, one of the features that I really think is amazing is the user ID is the person's name. You incorporate the person's name. you can actually see the scans and a picture of the home.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. It's impressive. When you,
It's
it's impressive to your customer when you send it.
Right, and you can go to your customers and tell them.
Is that a hard sell though? People haven't used a lot of direct mail. To take somebody who's doing, all email and then try and get it going in the mail? I mean, I'd say AccuTrace makes it easier, but
It just makes it more reliable
yeah.
and gives you more of a leg to stand on.
And a vision of where it's going.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of a nuts and bolts question, because we're still kind of new to AccuTrace. We're finding a lot of our smaller, like local mailings aren't getting scanned at all, but they're getting delivered. So if they're going just to the SCF and then right back out,
We're right by you, we're in
we're in
Sarasota.
Sarasota.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, our locals don't get
The
scanned.
ones that are just Minnesota and back out,
I have trouble getting
Are not
Minnesota
getting
scans as
scanned.
well.
Okay, so they're not getting scanned at all, so we'll see a report that says 80%
I-
not delivered.
I tell you what I've found, and actually Terry just pointed it out to me the other day. I had not given him the mid of a customer we're doing weekly, and the file was getting uploaded to AccuTrace, and no scans, week after week since January, and finally the best customer support in the world. I never have had customer support like you guys. He said, well, I think he failed to send me the informed visibility for this mid. And I went, oh, that's why I'm not seeing any scans, because you're not getting them. So you may want to check and make sure that the mid that you sent to them for your informed visibility was correct.
We've also had issues where scans won't show up. Atlanta is our problem area, but in what we've sort of been told at some points is, if we're drop shipping 400,000 pieces into Atlanta, sometimes what we'll do is we'll take the carrier route trays
That's what we
and forward
think.
them directly onto the DDU.
That's what we think's happening.
And so I'm just not,
Do you have
and
a
I don't
business
get
customer
anything, but we'll be
Do you
getting
have a business
deliveries.
customer rep? I would talk to them, absolutely.
In relation to this, this was like my question.
No.
We deliver to a lot of rural areas. We're in Maryland, and so we have a lot of rural post offices. For one mailing, we could go, it would start in it would go to our local post office, and then it'll go to Baltimore, and then it'll go to Harrisburg, and then it'll go to Chambersburg, and then it'll go to their local post office. And some of those smaller post offices don't have the technology yet to scan the pieces. So I'm told there's some parts in the mailing chain where once it gets to here, you're not going to see any more scans. And you're just going to have to hope and pray that it makes it to, I mean, you're talking towns of 200 to 300 people.
They're not going to
have
show
that
right.
technology. I've gotten to the point where I've called those local post offices. And they're like, oh, well, he comes in, sometimes the owner comes into that company and checks the mail, the P.O. Box address, and maybe he just leaves it in his truck. They know these people so well. They know what these pieces are doing. And then you call back to your customer and say, well, check with the owner. He checked the mail that day. That's another level of AccuTrace. But that's one of my questions is that, I had one customer say, she didn't get her mail, and I'm like, well, I can tell you, according to the postal scans and with AccuTrace, you should have got it on a Wednesday, and she still didn't get her postal piece. And then it's you're going to have to call your post office, because that's probably your mail carrier, and that's really, where are we going from there? I mean, we're out of our hands. It's just,
A lot of times those are contract mail carriers too.
Yep.
They don't even work directly for the post office. Most rural routes are contracts.
yeah.
The more work you do for the post office, the less chance of you getting your scans, which is what you found too, right? So if you're drop shipping it right there, then you may not get a scan. That's the most likely that I've seen where you get no scans, because you've done all the work so much for them that it gets right there and they never scan it. If you're dropping it locally, it's got to go all the way out.
When I'm
Probably
putting
gonna get a
sequence
scan.
numbers on 400,000 pieces and throwing it into Atlanta, they're sitting there look, we can just slap this right on up to the DDU. And
If it's on the carrier route,
Nobody else is
so you
That's the
Yeah.
and that's where I find too.
They don't want to deal with it.
Flats are
Which
the
is
worst.
unfortunate, because those are usually your bigger, most sophisticated clients who would like that information.
Right, but they don't want to break that trade on. They're not going to
Yeah.
send it through. They're not going to break the bond, so you will just never see it on
So when they first started informed disability though, you could just track the trace.
I'll get
Is that
reporting.
still, can you, is that still?
Yeah, we're actually looking at adding. There's other things like delivery events, there's logical delivery events. It's starting to put geofence on the carriers, so we can have a logical delivery event where we know that carrier has to go. So we're starting to get some of this.
Hopefully we don't drive down the wrong street.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be helpful.
I'm not gonna make the next session where you guys actually talk about the informed disability. So the informed delivery, I know that I'm signed up for informed delivery, so I get my email every day on what's going in my mailbox. Is that the same type of process that when they scan the mail? Is that the same concept of them tracking the mail, or is that just what's going in the mailbox each day?
They don't have delivery fees for getting that image of what's coming in the mailbox.
For the customer.
Yeah, for the customer.
About a third of the time the
Tracking
scanners
the
work.
visibility and.
So do you use it for your first class now?
But the local
I use it for
stuff
everything.
is
I
big,
upload
scan it.
everything now.
So that's they're not
And actually, it's very
See, that would be
interesting
nice.
if you,
If they could use that
so
informed
you look at it
disability
logistically,
postal end to say,
really
yes,
how much
That's from mailbox.
faster.
Yeah.
First class is than marketing mail.
That's what we use it for, to measure some of the SLAs, and we're just astounded sometimes
That's the
at varies. Same spot.
Same exact same location, and then you're saying, well, the first class took 5 days, marketing mail took 6. Why am I paying an extra 15 cents, 20
So
cents?
is that what you're tracing then, is within that 24 hours? Is
Yeah,
that-
when you
is
get
that
That's what I'm
completely
stamped
That's
marketing mail
the stop
goes
scan by the
slower.
post office that says this will be.
Goes more slowly than
So
Indeed.
if my stop scan was like say on the 12.
No, they're pre-cancel stamp.
Within 24 hours, that piece of paper.
I don't know what the
Could
difference
even be
might
that same
be.
day.
Maybe I'll
It
start,
depends on
I'll look
the
at
time of
that.
day when we scan. If it was
That's
20
Fair,
a.m.
because
or 12.
we dropped
But that's where I was like, wait, should
a lot of
on
you should mail
Wednesday?
analyze
Because
it.
essentially they don't on Thursday.
We're the same place first, so I should look at.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
absolutely.
sense.
And informed delivery
But it is
as
a
well,
good
that's just
service. I
residential.
mean,
It doesn't- it
It's
doesn't-
the way it allows you the visibility in the mail stream. That's what we sell.
So,
You know, and that's what people are looking for.
I was just thinking
You know,
before.
it's- we could never give it to them before.
No, it was Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. You don't need to know how this works. Just trust me, you're gonna get a phone call.
And that's what the post office is trying to sell. It's better. You know, they got to perform now.
Right. It's probably one of the biggest, best innovations that the post office has
At that time,
done.
they'll tell you how many of those people are
You
eligible
know,
for getting that.
it's just hard to use if you're just gonna try to go straight to them.
That's why I keep asking.
They used to not have that. It made it so impossible to sell to anybody. But now that you can take their actual list and upload it, and it'll tell you how many people in that list would get that image, then you can decide if it's worth trying to sell it online.
Are you talking about informed delivery? I can't figure out a way to get my salespeople to sell it.
Well, again, there's that tool that made it, that opened it up, in my opinion. So there's the post office has a tool where you can upload your actual list, and it'll show you who's signed up
Who
for
signed
it.
up for it?
Saying, oh, you're mailing 1,000 pieces. 2 of them are eligible. Well, there's not worth.
There's that why do it, right?
But until they did that, it just was, So, yeah.
There's just this abstract idea.
Yeah.
Of how to sell.
And they didn't have
And they made a big push, last
They
year.
really
People
did.
signed up, but they stopped. Now it's kind of like you don't see the big push anymore, but they really need at least 60 to 80 million people on it.
Easily.
And they're
Yeah,
only at
to be able
20 to
to
30
sell it.
now.
We found out about it maybe 6 or 8 months ago.
I've asked within the
Yeah,
last
you
3
can-
months.
Oh, no, it's true. Yeah, you can actually upload your list and it'll tell you.
Where's that?
It's at the post office. I can look it up a little bit.
It's on Postal One.
Yeah.
Everything's supposed to want.
Everything's
You just
in-
can't find it.
Or if you do find it, you can't use
You
it.
can't find it, you can't figure out what to do.
Buttons.
The most,
Click and clicks.
the most in-app and most marketing website I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
Can you talk at all about how you're doing that handoff between
No.
that stop scan to you triggering your emails? What do you actually, what software or what's your methodology for doing that?
I actually go into AccuTrace when I get notification from my dropship company that it's been signed for. Once it's been signed for, I look. That's when I go into AccuTrace and say, okay, now it's been signed for. Technically, it should be 2 days before it starts to scan. No more than 2 days. So that's when we send the first email.
But what about the second one?
The second one is the day that it is out for delivery.
What is your method for collecting that information and triggering those emails to know that it's out for that day?
Well, we mail a lot, but we're really a small company. Like my desk is here and my programmer is like right there. I tell him.
Is he downloading that through the interface? Is he going through the interface and downloading that list of what's out for the day? So he's doing it manually once a day or something?
No, I'm telling him that half the mail's gone. And
okay, so you're just statistically going,
I am.
most of the mail's there, I'm going to go ahead and send the
Go ahead and send the second email, right? And hopefully it is most of the mail, and hopefully it is that day.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a computer marketing, you know, like, whenever they have it upstairs, you just send the second email.
Right, because if they didn't get it today, they're going to get it tomorrow. So your timing is still just about right.
Actually, I have a question for everybody here. So, do any of you offer AccuTrace at a price? Do any of you make money off of AccuTrace?
Well, what we did was our first client who was interested in it was a big client who wanted it, and so we essentially charged them for it.
That's what we
we're able to
did.
identify a couple of big clients who have a real value to it, and then you can disperse that over some months. And so we really never made money on it, but we did cover our costs.
I see.
That's exactly what we did. We split it with our biggest customer.
Okay. Did you show
Is it best to
Yeah,
charge
it didn't show up.
by the record or by the flat fee for mail?
A flat fee.
I see.
Yeah, a flat fee.
Okay.
And that's only to one customer. We don't get anybody else. Because it would almost be impossible to track. Because then do you charge them for the delivered pieces but not the scanned pieces? You know, it would be almost impossible to charge for the record.
It's not really in your hands whether it's going to deliver or not. You're not promising deliverability. You're promising
Visibility. That's correct.
So you're it's for the whole picture, the bigger picture, the
Sure.
predictability of when it's going to get there, not only for this mailing but subsequent mailings down the line, right?
Right.
So I was just curious what those charges would be if it's better to go flat fee or by the record.
Yep. All right.
Good. Flat fee.
Flat fee.
By the record opens up a lot.
Yeah, we do it on demand. We charge 0.05 if they ask for it.
Oh, do you really? So if they ask for reports, you charge?
Yeah, and it's relatively such a small amount, they don't care.
Sure.
But we also do it free. Just if we're trying to win a client or doing something to get them started.
Added service.
Added value, yeah.
We can easily log into our AccuTrace platform. And then we can log into our IM Barcode.
Only if you know you're using the password. If you don't, then no, you're not.
I like extra time for me. I like to take some more reads that
Absolutely.
I have a technical question, I guess. I know when we initially started, we use our and so how you guys used to like block yours. I think we get away with that now.
Yeah,
Right. In terms of the post office transmitting the information, it's also my understanding that you can request that the post office also transmit it to another location. So you guys used to have a script set up that was like dumping my data into a folder, and I would pull that down myself, and then I kind of quit doing that part. Do you have people who are getting the data themselves and sent to you? Are you doing that?
I get it straight.
One or the other.
I was just curious because I'd love to capture that and maintain it only because you guys do a great job of keeping it online for a year, but then I have clients who are coming back who want to see that. It's more useful to be almost in the second year than the first year, especially a client who's doing an annual mailing. So if they're doing a spring, fall, mailing, they're too busy / lazy to do that analysis at the end of the project. They want to wait until they're going to kick off next year's project and then look at that information and try to utilize it. So I guess
That's a good question.
Sales history.
yeah, right.
I know we charge extra but it doesn't answer your question, but we do charge extra to allow you to keep that scanned data in our warehouse for a longer period of time. So you could theoretically keep jobs in there for more than a year. That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure.
Maybe keep it at your place to charge, but can you download that information?
Well, you'll when you log into AccuTrace, you would be able to see this job. If it was 2 years, 3 years ago, you'd still be able to click on the job, see it, see how long it takes to get to different destinations, or whatever information you want to pull from it. But can you? That's a good question. That'll be a good one for Q&A. I think developers will be able to answer that for you.
I think you can just do it through the gateway, that you can tell it to send it to 2 places now. I don't think you could do that before, but I think you can do that now just through the gateway when you assign it.
I'm not sure.
Never give up that
Two
data.
different,
I think I've done it. I just didn't know if anybody had done it.
We'll use it.
Well, we just got the 5-minute warning. So just so everybody knows.
And you didn't think you could make 50 minutes?
I didn't. No, you guys helped a lot.
You started it all.
Anybody got any more questions? No? I guess we could go further.
It's a long drive.
That's right. When's the next action?